Welcome back to the channel. Today we are working back on my friend Mannys Sportster. If you haven't seen the rest of this series, you might go back and check that out. But today we've got something special planned. I think in the beginning, one of the first videos, we talked about possibly doing handlebars. And we actually found a pretty good deal for a set of used ones online, ironically. On top of that, we've got a few other maintenance items to do. Let's see, Manny rode this bike a couple of times through the winter in Ohio while I was down in Florida. And so far he's really pleased with how the bike runs. Starts up a lot better ever since we did all the carburetor work. Sounds great. Couldn't be happier. I had him bring it back over this spring just so I can go back all over my work, recheck some things. I had to touch up some paint on one of the mufflers, but other than that, everything else seems to be holding up pretty good. So please go back, check out those previous videos, catch up to the series, and let's talk about what we're going to be doing today. So Manny looked at handlebars for quite a while online, and we talked a lot about the combinations between the risers and the pullback and the differences of like clocking the handlebars back and the overall look we were going for his motorcycle. And ironically, what he came to kind of decide was he did like the Frisco bars I recently installed on my Sportster. And ironically, he got on eBay and somebody was selling a pretty good used set for like 75 bucks. So almost, I think these are like 140 maybe, brand new. But the unique thing about these is, like I said in a previous video, Mannys bars are 7/8. So these are actually 7/8 Biltwell bars. So this will work with all of his original controls. The only thing we do have is a new set of grips he decided to go with. He picked up some pretty squishy ones this time. So hopefully these offer a little bit more vibration dampening for him. They had pretty good reviews online, he said, so we're going to run with them. For now, we are going to keep I think these are like right around 2-inch risers for 7/8. I recently did actually go in and push out his old bushings. These were actually the bushings he had in there. These are what look to be a solid Delrin bushing with a weird O-ring. And then on the bottom, it just had this crushed rubber gasket. And that was one of the problems why this bike has so much vibration in the front end. The other one is, I swear these bars are handmade the way that they're welded around right here. And also I took some measurements and one side appears to be kind of cockeyed back further than the other. It's kind of weird. So I did put in factory rubber Harley bushings up here, and I think it did take away some of the vibration. Now the next issue is just the bars. They transfer a lot of vibration through the front end. Another scenario could be because the front end is lowered so much. Compared to my motorcycle, I really can't tell how much this is lowered. I just know that it is much lower than my front end. So if these are already running pretty low with a much stiffer spring, this could be transferring a lot of vibrations through the front end as well. So usually in my experience, I've found that going to a taller handlebar or riser allows for more deflection basically to reduce vibrations in the front of these solid motor mounted Sportsters. So this is all hypothetical, but in my experience, this is kind of what's helped reduce the vibrations on my Sportster. You might have noticed also the paper towel up here. I did notice when he dropped the bike back off that this brake line hose was in fact slightly weeping. It's not really dripping, but it's like profusely sweating out brake fluid. So we believe that either this line is just old and it's finally failing, or it's the incorrect hose and it is slowly deteriorating the lining, which is kind of concerning because that's his brake line. I'll be picking up some new brake line hose, which is actually more challenging to find here in town than I imagined because What we found is it's a type of brake line hose called EPDM, I believe, and trying to find that locally is proving to be challenging. Even our local motorcycle stores don't even carry any type of extra brake line hose in stock for their motorcycles. So outside from those few items that we're going to be working on today, we don't really have any other intentions on doing much more to this motorcycle. Currently in Ohio, we just had our hopefully last freeze overnight. Last night I think it got down to like 32, 33 degrees, so it's a little cooler out this morning still. But the weather and the forecast and all is looking very promising. I really want to get this bike together for Manny, give him something to enjoy, and hopefully we can get out and do some trips together, hopefully. This summer is really stacking up, and man, there's just never enough time for everything, is there? So with that said, let's get to work. Also, I got to show you the electrical behind the front fairing. I don't know what to think of that.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the f is that?
Well, she's pretty much back together. The only piece that's holding me up is the replacement hose for the brake reservoir. But other than that, it is pretty much all back together. I think it really helps level the bike out. I really like these bars. I don't even know what to do about that electrical job. I don't think there is anything I can do. Yeah. Well, this turned out to be quite the adventure on this bike. I had to reroute the clutch line, figure out the throttle cables, change out that brake line, but I think this came out really nice. The seating position on it's much nicer. You're not hunched over. I think he's going to be really happy with it. I've already been sending him pictures as I've kind of been working along with it, and he's really excited. So again, the only thing we are waiting on still is that brake hose, because they require a specific type of brake hose for brake fluid. It's kind of crazy that none of the motorcycle shops in my town carry that line. They all say it's a special order hose. So that's unfortunate. I think this is great. I did end up having to take a spacer for some reason out of the clutch. And after I readjusted the clutch back into the friction zone, it feels a lot softer now without that spacer in there. I think that spacer was causing the cable to be over tightened, because beforehand there was no adjustment in the cable. It was already completely backed out. So now we actually have some adjustment down on the frame, and it feels great. The grips are on. They feel pretty good. They're squishy. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it came out, and pretty happy with my work. And I think Manny's going to be really happy. So the next time you see this bike, hopefully we're out riding somewhere, hitting the road. So with that said, if you watch this video, thank you. And go back and check out the rest of the series. Let me know what you think. It's been a fun little refresh on my buddy's motorcycle, and had a great time. So until next time, take it easy.